Hey, folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast on the YouTube channel. Today, we are collaborating with the Florida Blood Bowl group. And as our guest, we have James Luft, a.k.a. Beer Jones, Big Benny K, and Jonathan. I'm your host, Carlos. We are going to have a live call-in show today where folks will be able to call in and talk to us just in time for my dog to get barking. Talk to us about what you've been up to Blood Bowl wise. But with that, we'll kick in and let y'all get started. Talk us in, Ben.
All right. Well, yeah, this is our first one, and we're going to hope to do some more in the future. Um, we just want to cover some topics that pertain to local Blood Bowl and also worldwide Blood Bowl, and just make it fun. Um, so I don't know. Do we usually end up starting out with a little bit of information about maybe? Do we want to start with Chaos Cup, or do we want to wait for a little bit later on for that?
I think the cat's out of the bag for Chaos Cup for those, who don't know or haven't heard or had anybody complain about it or talk highly of it. Florida is going to be the new host for Chaos Cup starting in 2023. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we're all very excited about it. It was announced at the end of Chaos Cup in Chicago. Jeff went ahead and told everybody, and so far it's all been pretty positive. It's been making its rounds around some of the podcasts, Three Die Block and Both Down, and I think for the most part, they all have pretty much the same kind of comments where it's a new thing. Everybody's used to it being in Chicago. It's been there since the beginning for 20 years, and now it's going to be in Orlando. So I think, yeah, 2023 is going to be a year of change. I think there's a lot of potential for some cool things. I think we may see a lot more international coaches. Flights to Orlando are pretty easy. Florida Blood Bowl itself has a huge local, base of coaches, I think, that are going to show up and turn out. So I think we're going to have a pretty good showing for the first year that it's here. And we're all very excited to have Chaos Cup in Florida.
I think it's an easy sell to the family, because maybe somebody, can turn a trip to Orlando into a family vacation as well, pretty easily if they swing that with their people. So I think maybe we'll see some
Absolutely.
more people come in, hopefully.
Chris
Uh,
Nelson's in the chat. He and Josh Wojcik, two Florida Blood Bowl coaches, went over to Euro Bowl over in Malta, and I got feedback from both of them. Actually, I talked to Josh about it. That was mostly focused on like rules and things like that. But Chris is stating that a lot of coaches are intrigued about Chaos Cup being in Florida. It was brought up on multiple occasions without them having to kind of, Chaos Cup in Florida. So that's very promising. Makes me very happy.
Yeah, it's an awesome event. I only went the one time during COVID, the year of COVID, but I made friends with strangers and had a lot of fun. And the parts I can remember were were very enjoyable. So,
Yeah,
as
that was the year I
always,
couldn't go. I had just changed jobs twice, and it didn't work out for me at the last minute. And there I was sitting on a couch, raining in Florida, sitting there watching social media, and all my friends are having so much fun in Chicago at Chaos Cup. And that's the year one of our own, a local Will Mayo out of the Jacksonville Blood Bowl League, the JAF. He took home the Chaos Cup. Well, didn't take home. He raised it high over his head and won that trophy. There's a picture of it somewhere on there. There he is.
so I was a little disappointed. I thought it was hollow and you could drink out of it.
Oh
So
no.
I went with the expectation that like somehow we'd like pop the top of it off and pour beer in there and someone would drink it, but that's not how it works. So
I think
maybe
someone
that's a
would
change we
die.
can make with it coming to Florida.
So by cup, it's a term that's loosely used up in Chicago.
That thing
Uh,
is like 500 pounds of pure steel. That thing is like heavier because I was running a sevens event the one year and it was on the table. It was left unguarded. So of course, anytime it's left unprotected, I have to try and pick it up and make stupid faces. But that thing has got some heft to it. That's a
do,
great trophy.
do you have to house that thing now?
So in March, I'm going to be making a road trip to Tennessee to meet Jeff and he's going to be bringing a lot of the Chaos Cup paraphernalia, the banners, the trophy, and we're going to make a weekend out of it. Just kind of, maybe play some. So we were talking about like, what are we going to do for a Friday night icebreaker? Some people don't want to play games. They just want to socialize, which is fine. Some people want to play games. Some people want to do like intense NAF ranked games. So we're going to try and make everybody happy. But one of the things we talked about was goblin knife fights, kind of like a Death Bowl Rat Ogre situation. So in March, I think Jason York mentioned he was going to come because he's helping me run Chaos Cup here in Florida. Well, everybody's helping me run Chaos Cup in Florida, but he's going to be my right-hand man. Eric Nyberger and Josh Wojcik, for now, those three are going to come with me to Tennessee to meet up with Jeff and kind of just talk Chaos Cup, talk Blood Bowl, just have a good weekend, having a couple of drinks, some cigars, if that's what you're into and whatnot.
Yeah, 2023 is going to be a crazy year for Florida Blood Bowl, I think. Just with the amount of events and some of the events of the caliber that we're going to be, the world caliber that we're going to be having. I think we're starting off. The one I'm really excited about is the Savannah Safari Bowl. That's happening in February. Is a team event that we're going to be going up to Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, to try to get some of the other voodoo states involved, because it's a little bit of a hike to come to the Florida tournaments, and with them being so frequent, it's probably hard to determine which ones you want to come to, right? So this team event will hopefully be something that lures out some new and interesting people that we haven't had a chance to connect with before, and get a little competitive with it as well. So I'm excited about that one.
Speaking of voodoo,
that was a long time. Oh, go ahead.
My first voodoo tournament win was actually in Georgia in Fayetteville.
Nice.
It was pretty interesting.
That's the one you went up to with Will?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty good event. Georgia boys they're getting on point. It's going to be fun.
They are certainly upping their game. For those who don't know, the Voodoo Tournament Series is the southernmost U.S. states: Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And a lot of those states are really starting to up their tournaments. Mississippi's doing at least 5 or 6 or more a year. Georgia's doing some now. Tennessee, we always had the Great Smoky Mountain Bowl. Roscoe Piercy ran that. It kind of fell off, but now there's another guy who's going to be running some events there. And I would love to see Great Smoky Mountain Bowl come back. That was an awesome event.
Yeah, I always get excited for the especially interesting ones, especially team events. I mean, and this being a World Cup year, teams are going to be a big element of that. And I know Florida's done a couple of teams. There's actually a team event coming up this weekend that I'm really excited about. I'm wearing my Cthulhu shirt because we have
I love it.
Christmas with Cthulhu coming up, and it's kind of a fun. I'm all about the wacky tournaments. The weirder they are, the more fun they seem to be. And this one, you team up with somebody else, and there's some restrictions on what teams you can use and things like that, but you get to swap one non-star player with the other person before the match starts, and that has led to all sorts of crazy theories and play tests, and everybody's kind of going nuts trying to figure out what the best way to exploit that loophole might be. So I think we're going to have an interesting tournament.
It's almost up to about 20 coaches now, and there's still a week left to get a team together. It's only 2 coaches. Team events are a lot of fun. And for TKC, which is one of Florida's bigger events, we kind of go every other year. So one year will be a solo, just individual coaches, and then we'll do a team event the following year. So 2023 for TKC in May is going to be a team event. But you mentioned the Safari Bowl. So that was something that has been in the works since before 2020, before COVID, where I wanted to do a destination Blood Bowl. And it just so happened, I've been to Savannah a couple of times and I absolutely love it there. And it just seemed like an ideal spot. And then, as the Voodoo tournament states keep growing, it really gives us an opportunity for Voodoo states to be able to go and get to know each other and participate and kind of get other coaches from other states to come to their local tournament events. And that's a 4-coach event, and we're trying to really kind of keep it to an even amount. So when you sit down to play, it's not just an even amount of coaches where you're earning those points. You're literally sitting down with your team, kind of World Cup style, Euro Bowl style, and you're playing against, a whole other team. So yeah, I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be at the Savannah Conference Center. As far as I know, there's never been Blood Bowl there before.
Let me pop in real quick. We got a comment in the chat about trying to figure out how to call in. Yeah, I know it's a little old school, folks. It's a little old school, but that's how I live. You just pick up your phone, like your real phone, and just dial the numbers. 813-618-7099. That's how you get into the show. Like, we keep it simple here on the Beans and Dice because I'm a simple person. So for y'all in the comments in the chat, you want to get in, talk about what you got going on Blood Bowl-wise, 813-618-7099 is the phone number. Just pick up a phone. Dial. Pretty easy.
I actually saw a payphone the other day. Where was I walking? And I saw two payphones. Oh, I was at Disney Springs, and I saw two payphones on the wall. And I was talking to who I was there with, and I was going to go over and see if they actually worked.
It's like,
I love
getting in and out of the Matrix,
That's what I love about what we do every Thursday on the Beans and Dice is that call-in aspect. You're actually talking to people, real time, on a phone, just voice. It just feels nostalgic.
That's awesome.
Well, Chris made a comment about my team that I was putting together, and I got a pretty good one, so I'm feeling pretty confident. I got Nick Blackie and Soul and Tom DiGirolamo. A couple of some of them are a little bit newer to the Blood Bowl scene, but they've made a name for themselves recently, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So I'm still figuring out what I'm gonna play. I'm doing the flex role, so I'm gonna use whatever points are left over.
That's awesome. I hope I can make Christmas with Cthulhu. I gotta see if I can swing it or not.
That's the thing about Florida Blood Bowl, like I like to say, is, most people tend to always feel bad when they're like, oh, man, I don't know if I can make it to this tournament. And I'm like, well, the good news of Florida Blood Bowl is there's always more Blood Bowl. So I think we finished it this year in 2022. We finished at 29 events. I'd have to go back and check, but it was like 29 or 30.
All right. Well, we got our first caller of the night. Caller, introduce yourself. Say hello.
Hello and good evening, gentlemen. This is Nick Ubin from Wesley Chapel, Florida.
Hey, Nick.
What's up, Nick?
How's it going? Happy Sunday.
That it is.
Sunday, man. Hey, let me just say that
Excellent.
Nick Oben is one of the biggest supporters of anything Florida Blood Bowl, anything that we're doing. He always supports our raffles. He always supports our sales. Like, we're doing a trucker cap sell now where, Florida Blood Bowl logo on a trucker cap. Nick's one of the first people. I'll back that. I'll do that. I'll help out. So, Nick, I just want to say thank you so much for all your support, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, right back at you, James. You do a fantastic job keeping it all together, and it's a lot of fun to support you guys. Plus, Carlos made it clear that the more money I throw at this game, the better my dice rolls are. That's what he told me, right?
That's true. That's all true.
Carlos was the one that got me into it.
It hasn't worked out for me. Like, I've been just tossing money at it, and I still stink.
But no, it's funny because the rest of you guys don't know quite as much. I'm a tabletop gamer. I'm known in our group as a strategy Euro loving board gamer extraordinaire. I love a good 4-hour, scratch your head, let's think through this kind of game. And so when Carlos introduced me to Blood Bowl, he was like, "It's got dice, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's football. It's still fun." And man, it is such an easy game to fall in love with. As a strategic planner, I very much still enjoy how much there is still plenty of strategy, but then the dice and then the theme, the sporting aspect of it, I think it does such a neat job at actually, and it's going to sound crazy, it actually simulating the essence of American football, in that it's that whole phrase, any given Sunday. I mean, you can roll in with, a snotling team and take out Wood Elves if the dice, if Nuffle says that you should, right? Nothing against Snotlings, by the way. I'm sure you great Snotling coaches out there that can kick butt with them. But I love that aspect of it, where really you sit down for a match and it does give you the highs and the lows that, quite honestly, traditional tabletop board games have trouble recreating, I think.
I would agree 100%.
I truly fear stunty teams anytime I play. So.
They should be feared and respected. But we had a coach who, we don't get to see him all too often, Howard Adams, and he showed up at a tournament with Snotlings, and he was on top table. He came very close to winning that whole tournament. You just cannot underestimate those teams with all the shenanigans that they have, because once you start underestimating them, that's it.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny when you do the football comparison. And it's like, I have no football, experience or anything like that, or even watch the game that much. And so it's kind of weird because people ask me, like, what brought you into it if you're not? But I don't know, it's just something about it being fast paced. I think the turnover mechanic is great because the turn can just change at any time and things can flip. And, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought though.
So I'm with Ben on I'm not a American football fan. I've never been a fan. I won't. It's not. I'll go to a game. I'll watch a game. I'll enjoy it. It's a competition. I enjoy competition. But I'll tell you, I'm with Nick on the idea that it simulates the feelings of a love of sport. I love baseball. That's one of my sports that I really enjoy. I love auto racing. There are very few board games that can get my emotions going like it would happen in watching a playoff for baseball or the 500, the NASCAR 500 Daytona, like Blood Bowl. There are very few games like Blood Bowl that can get my blood going. My wife talked about it because I told her about the podcast this week that we're doing today and how I want to get back into getting more games in. And she's like, yeah, but you'd always come home so mad. Like, there are very few games that get my blood going like Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl has truly become my favorite game, period. I've played so many games in the past, and I rediscovered it about 2 years ago, and that was it. It's awesome game. Just love it.
Glad you're in the community, Nick.
Is there a Blood Bowl version?
No, it's good. And it's good.
No, somebody's asking in the comments, Nick, is there a Blood Bowl version for real football?
You're looking at Mutant League football.
Wayne, yeah, I guess we've done that at Armada Human League. Nick, you were part of that, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. So we did the lineman. It was a lineman only league, right? So there were no, don't tell me that you've got a bull minotaur or whatever on the pitch or a vampire or something, right? We're all human linemen, and then you just have to level up your team, and it became very strategic and very positional, right? I mean, everyone is just your standard move 6, strength 3, edge 3 piece and whatnot. And so, yeah, I mean, you can play it that way. And of course, I would argue that while, of course, the rules as written don't really do an amazing job at strictly emulating a drive. There's no notion of first down, second down, third down, right? You can take all 8 turns in a half if you can hold the ball, right? But other than that, there's passing plays, there's running plays, blocking matters, sidelines matter, open field matters. I mean, there's a lot of elements of American football that play out just fine. Scoring touchdowns matters. It's the thing. Injuries happen. Injuries do happen, right? That element of it is part of that emotional roller coaster, Carlos, you're talking about, where you injured my war dancer because of course you did. I mean, that's like taking out the starting quarterback of your local football team, right?
You were beating me that game, but I broke his neck, and that's all that mattered. Like, I felt great.
He deserved it.
It looks like we have a clarification here on what our inquirer meant about that, and they were referring to soccer.
Wayne, we don't acknowledge soccer here. This is America.
Well, I have an idea for soccer football. Is basically you just set all the pieces up, and we'll just stare at each other for about 2 hours, and then call it a game, and that'll be the perfect soccer simulator for us.
And also, if you roll one less than the armor value, your player can
They got a
fake
flop.
an injury
They got a flop.
and get sent off.
Yep.
So,
Paper miniatures, you can just blow them down. Fall down.
I'm glad we're all on the same page here when it comes to football.
That's right. Although I
Unless
will
we're
say
talking
that
about Ted Lasso. That's all I care about.
yeah. Oh, there you go. Ted Lasso's a great show. I will say that the timing of this show is perhaps a little tongue in cheek because there is a little football thing happening right around now. European football, that football, or I guess African football, I should say. That's fine. The World Cup, it's a thing. Maybe you guys don't know, but that's fine. Yeah, I've heard of it. So I will say, so two more things real quick, more anecdotal just because it's funny and it does relate to American football. I remember, Carlos, I don't remember if you of this, the thing that I decided to kind of get mad about as a Euro gamer coming into Blood Bowl and not liking having to roll dice for everything was picking the ball up, right? On like a 3+. And you've got teams that will sit there for 3 turns in a row being like, sorry, can't pick the ball up, boss. Trying my best out here, coach. Oops, Butterfingers again, right? And that part did infuriate me. Though then I will say, I think it was like 2 weeks later, sitting there watching the football game, and like in 3 games that Sunday, people failed to pick the ball up, right? It's a thing. It's a real thing, right? If I'm Borusky, all you got to do, you hear it all the time. All you got to do is fall on the ball. Just get it. Just pick it up. And people fail all over the place. Professionals who are paid to do this. So that was the part where it clicked for me, where I realized, holy crap, that emotion that I feel when I roll a 4 and I do pick the ball up, or I roll a 2 and I don't, it's right here. Here it is. Boom, right there. And it was a lot of fun. So a little anecdote there of again, tying the two things together. And last thing I'll say before I let you guys go is back to the money pit, because I'm standing here in front of my collection, which I used to make fun of Carlos for having something like, an ungodly number of teams, like 8 or 9 or whatever your number was. And with the advent of 3D printing and the whole hobby we get into, Carlos, I don't know if you know, what am I up to? Like 24 teams?
I think you finally surpassed me. I was in that low to mid 20s, but I think with the resin printer and the Punga, and Punga, right? Pronounce it right?
Yeah.
And, Russian is not my first language. I think you've finally surpassed me in the amount of teams.
But I will say, and I'll leave you with that, the hobby aspect of the game can't be ignored, and really was a delight for me and my kids that I didn't see coming. I'm literally staring at pots of paint, primed minis, painted minis, printed minis. I mean, I've got hundreds of minis in front of me right now, in various states of art projects, basically. And actually was just talking to my 11-year-old yesterday about like, hey man, let's like knock out another team one of these times when we have time on a weekend or something. He was like, yeah, let's do it. And of course, that's all talk. We're going to sit there and play paint half a mini and give up, but it's nice to talk about, and have all this stuff. So the hobby aspect was a pleasant surprise, which again you don't find in cracking open a game of Arnak or something, right?
Right.
The better of the two games, not Blood Bowl. I'm talking Arnak and Doom, of course. But all right, very good. Anyways, yeah, that's all I got. I'm excited. I love Blood Bowl. It's fun.
Well, I'm excited to see more of these bigger events, which are the ones that I tend to try to get to, is the bigger events in Florida now. So Nick and I can make our carpooling like we do to these bigger events, but closer. So this is going to be great.
I'm glad you brought that up though too, Nick, because that's one of my favorite aspects of the game is the modeling and, finding creative ways to represent the teams. And that's part of the fun of tournaments too, especially the bigger ones. I think people seem to bring out the stuff that they've worked extra hard on. I know that most of our tournaments, you'll see unpainted teams and you'll see stuff that people, haven't really worked on all that much because some of the lower population ones, they're not there to show off. But when you get to some of the big ones, I think it's cool to see what kind of stuff people bring. Some people are just wild when they come to their modeling skills. So it's cool.
We're getting spammed with a new adult dating chat free. Awesome.
Oh.
I was hoping for this.
Report. All right, Nick.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. You guys have a great night.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for calling in.
I can't even with y'all. All right, phone lines
puts
open,
that stuff out?
813-618-7099. Phone lines open, folks. Call in. Give us your thoughts on what's going on Blood Bowl-wise. I did want to touch on with Nick and the feeling of not being able to pick up the ball, right? That feeling, an argument I had with him, a discussion. Don't matter because I'm going to go screen a phone call. You know what? Let's just answer and see what happens.
Uh-oh.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Josh. I'm calling from Florida.
Whoosh!
The Bears in the house.
What's up,
What's
guys?
up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Hey.
What's going on?
Well, Josh is one to talk when it comes to painting in the hobby end, because he is one of our big painters in our community, and he does commissions. And I don't know, he must paint them in his sleep or something because like he's cranking them out so fast. I don't know.
I've learned to kind of churn through things. If there's some like big deadline or something, like a lot of folks had deadlines this year for the larger tournaments like Crucible and stuff. So I really churned that stuff out. But it was kind of nice after I got back from Malta. I'm working on something now, but it's not like needed next month or nothing. So, like, not that I'll take that long, but it's nice to know that, I can kind of, go through it, take my time. Well, it's not that I don't take my time, but...
Oh, I noticed that Florida, everybody's getting an Amber Alert right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, God,
Not a hurricane alert.
No, I have a lot of fun. I kind of I focus a lot on my painting on my specialty with the really small details and like stuff that I can paint on the miniature that's not really doesn't start there, like little pictures and posters and stuff, and that kind of stuff really kind of brings it out, like hand painting the numbers and stuff too. I really pay a lot of folks don't, but I pay attention to fonts when it comes to numbers. Sometimes like the teams really needs like college lettering more than NFL lettering, for instance, and stuff like that. Say numbering, but you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff. I really love the smaller details.
I remember you did a Frankenstein with like the movie poster for Frankenstein on his jacket or something, and it was nuts. So, yeah, you got some detail there.
That's one of my favorite miniatures. That team's going to take me a long time to complete because I have the models for it, but I want them all to be not just Hollywood horror, but like specific Hollywood horror. Like this is the first Frankenstein movie. Bride of Frankenstein is the next school. I want specific werewolves. I think I got one that kind of fits from Teen Wolf. And then I got the other one, of course, is Lon Chaney. So, like that kind of stuff. But I'm really looking for things. I want to find like an Invisible Man model for one of the raids. I'm not quite sure what to do with the other one though. So
that's part of the fun too, is, collecting models that you want to do the team with. Like right now I'm building a Fimmer team. And there's not a whole lot of Fimmer out there that I can get my hands on for a reasonable price. So I've gone to a bunch of different.
You're correct about that.
Yeah, so I've gone to a bunch of different third party, which are better. In my opinion, some of those third party are better than the originals. So I've got a bunch of Fimmer coming in from all around the world, and I'm going to create some sort of abomination using that. But that's part of the fun, like you bits and pieces, that team may not be playable this year, but, we'll have fun collecting and painting it over the course of however long it takes to do that.
Oh yeah. Now I'll tell you, for tournaments and stuff, I'm pretty excited. I don't know, like when I went to Malta and did Euro Bowl, I figured it was going to do two things for me. One, I did so much practicing and stuff with orcs up until then. I was like, this is either going to burn me out for a little while, or it's going to like re-energize me and really want to make me like go out and play a few things. So like in the last thing for Turkey Brawl, like I actually practiced with Andrew with that rule set before I got to it. And I almost never practiced the exact rule set of the tournament.
Is that what you have to share as a tip for the success that you had?
Well, I mean, that's one. The other one is 100% read the rules. Like I took advantage of desperate measures, and they're awesome, and they're fantastic in sevens. And if you don't take them, it's like you're the country without the A bomb. So
when you're on the receiving end of the desperate measures, you are all salt and hate. But when you're utilizing those desperate measures, you are like, yeah, bitch.
I mean, like, I can see it. I understand either way. I will be happy playing sevens with both. I'd be happy playing sevens with them and without them.
But if the TO is going to put them out there, you might as well use them. And like you said, if you're pulling out the weapons of mass destruction and you have access to them, you might as well use them. And if you're not using them, then you're behind in the arms race of Blood Bowl sevens, I suppose.
Unfortunately, that was the case with Griff the other day too. No, I agree though. The one where you can instantly make a pass, that is just nuts. It's like anywhere you can make the range, it's an instant completion. It's like, so.
Or activating a player twice and going end zone to end zone with a skink or gutter runner.
Yeah.
With a gutter runner. Yeah, no, you start in your end zone, activate twice, and go in the other end zone.
Yeah, some nuts stuff. So what would about Malta, what's number one non-Blood Bowl thing you think you got to do there that was awesome?
So for Blood Bowl stuff?
Non-Blood Bowl.
So first, non-Blood Bowl?
I saw you got off the beaten path a little bit, so
yeah. All right, so non-Blood Bowl stuff. We visited all kinds of like cathedrals and like structures, and it's different because I've never been outside the United States. When you touch something that's been around for over 200 years or more, like it's one thing like a history nut for me to like see pictures of it and read about it and be like, yeah, that's really cool, but like to stand on it, like to see it, to see what's kind of built around it for the years. Like we saw the island, there's like a main island fort on Malta. And what's neat is like it started as like a Roman fort. And then as people came over, whether it was the Templars or like anyone else, the French, like they just kept building up on it. It was even used all the way up into World War II. Is a fort that has like ancient stuff to it as well. And it was just neat to see like one of the big differences that I noticed from just in like attitude of architecture from the US to Malta was like in the US, if we want something to be original, we're going to be like, restore it to exactly what it was and don't touch it, or knock it down and forget about it and build something else. But for them, it's like they build on top of everything and they keep like a smidgen of what it used to be when they do the new stuff to it.
Isn't that crazy? Like, and I love history games, and I'm a historyphile. I really enjoy that. Here in the U.S., we have, I hate saying it, we have no history. Like Josh is right. We just tear it down and build a new McDonald's. Like we need to make more room, right? So we just tear it down. So for you talking about your trip overseas, that's the part that really interests me, is that idea of being able to touch history. I think some of the closest things we have to it might be like New Orleans, right? Because you got French Quarter of New Orleans, which has been in the hands of the Spanish and the French, and you can see the architecture changes based on who controlled it. So I know we're getting a little nerdy here, but that's what we do. We talk about what we talk about. Josh brought it up. I love that aspect that you brought up, Josh.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't like, of course, as a guy, like the first thing I want to see is this gigantic fort that they built and all the history behind it. But we saw that there are like smaller islands that are connected to Malta, Camino and Gozo, and on
that's
them
where the clones are from, Camino, right?
Yep. Yeah, and on one of the islands, there's these watchtowers that are built. And they were first built by the Romans and then built up from there. One of them that we visited, but it wasn't open to walk through, was the one that they used in the movie The Count of Monte Cristo. So it was kind of neat to see that. There's a place in Valletta, which is the capital of Malta. It's like this courtyard area, and has like some Roman pillars with this building behind it. And there's a scene in Jurassic World where like I think a T-Rex goes crazy, starts eating people from like the black market, and that's where they filmed it. So like I got to take a picture myself there, so it's pretty cool.
I know that scene. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where the raptors get out of their cage and start hunting everybody down. Yep.
I'm uncultured. I haven't watched anything past Lost World.
Well, I only watched that because it was on the flight to it, so it's kind of ironic. Let's see, and the one thing I love that we visited was Medina. Medina was known as the Silent City. It's a completely walled-in city, has like its own moat and everything, and like a lot of scenes from Game of Thrones, stuff like that were filmed there for like when people are walking through the city. It's like all crowded and stuff. Like a lot of stuff was filmed there. But like the neat part about this city is there's only 300 people that live in it now. It was the former capital, and it's the Silent City because after basically they have a deal where like people can visit it and do like tours through it and walk through it until 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, everybody gets out if you don't live there. And then they all like go out and like do shopping and stuff like inside their town. So that's why it's known as like, and there's no talking allowed when they're on the streets.
Sounds really weird. That's some ancient rituals going on there.
Yeah.
Don't wake the monsters
There's
up.
like highly religious people that live there too. Like there's the Archbishop lives there and other stuff. Like pretty crazy. Like pretty neat though, looking at everything.
How'd you feel being overseas in another country, safety wise? Like, were you afraid like Liam Neeson was going to have to come save you because you were taken? I have a particular set of skills. James and I do not have any particular set of skills to save you.
I first flew over, all those thoughts were in my head. I was like, somebody's going to take me. I'm going to make sure I don't have anything in my bank account. I have nothing to take. All these thoughts are running through my head. And then I get there and like, really none of that happens. Like especially if you're like at a hotel for an event or something, like they'll have some kind of bus service that's scheduled to take you around different stops. And, you can go visit different places and things. And it's
good.
Nice. It's good. It was nice and comfortable. Everybody was friendly, super friendly. The food and the liquor in Malta, although I didn't partake of any liquor, is 100% cheap. Like, very inexpensive. I think, was it Sean, I think? He was, like, giving people shots of Jameson. And he saw like this tray of 10 shots, and he's like, "Hey, how much is like 10 shots of Jameson for that?" And the guy was like $32. And he's like, "Oh, well, just make it 12. I'm gonna go buy it for everybody else." Like that's really cheap.
Wow.
When I think about it. So, I had for my last meal, I had like prawns, swordfish, and like steamed mussels. And it ended up being like $25.
Wow. I would not have expected that.
Yeah.
I thought they would have got you for, I mean, like we go to cons and events here in Florida and they'll have like a chicken sandwich for $15, right? The hotels, they try to get you.
Yeah. No, this one, they fed us while we were at Euroval. And the guy that ran it was really nice about it because with my dietary restriction, my recent stuff, I was like, I see all this pasta. The guy was wondering like why I was giving the ticket back for the food, and I was like, I can't eat any of it. I can't have this, I can't have that. They started saying like, there's got to be something I can give you. Started running around, and there was like literally nothing. Like, I can't have processed meats. There's a lot of things I can't have. And he's like, I have apples. Can you eat those? I was like, sure. So he gave me like 6 apples.
6?
Wow. I was like, well, I feel like a horse, but that's cool. At least he like tried his best, you know.
Maybe
And
he
then
wanted
he
you
was
to make apple
He's
pie.
but he's like, you can eat. Well, now I know that like I probably shouldn't like gorge myself on fruits, but it's better, option, anyways. But he was like, then he said, "Oh, tomorrow we're having check-in. Can you eat that?" I was like, 100%, as long as it ain't fried. So I got to eat the day after, on the second day. I'd say very important is that I did not lose to any elves at Eurobowl. So
there you go. It's a
You
win
did
for
great at
you.
Eurobowl.
Win for USA. Well, thanks for talking with us, Josh. I think we're going to see if we can open up the lines again and see if anybody wants to give us a holler, talk a little bit about Blood Bowl, and
Appreciate you, Poppy. Great phone call.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, no problem. You guys have a good day. And I'm super excited for Christmas Cthulhu coming up. So me and Chris Nelson, we're going to try our best.
That's a bad pairing. That's scary.
Our team.
That's a scary pairing. All right, the Ringers, go run it. Take care, Josh. Good night.
Have a good night.
Phone lines open. 813-618-7099 is the number if you want to call in about Blood Bowl stuff. I'm not leaving the country, folks. They let me in once. I'm not sure if they'll let me in again. I'm mad props to y'all doing this world's things and leaving the country, but I'm staying right where I'm at. Florida's got enough Blood Bowl for me.
It's a nice excuse to travel, though. Even if you do stay within the country, we went to. I have no other earthly reason to go to Oklahoma. Sorry, guys, in Oklahoma, but we went to Oklahoma a couple of years ago for Spiky Cup at Oklahoma, and it was kind of a nice just opportunity to get out and do something I wouldn't normally do. Especially if you have a group of people that are willing to travel with you.
Yeah, tell them how we traveled, though, Ben. Tell them how we traveled.
Well, that was another thing. So we rented an RV, went from Florida to Oklahoma, and I think there was, 9 of us? 8 of us?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
awesome.
a bunch of us packed in there.
Scary.
A lot of alcohol, a lot of fast food. You can imagine that it didn't smell the best.
We need air fresheners and odor eaters for the next trip. That's what we need.
Wow, that's crazy.
Or what's that stuff called? Febreze. Yeah, that would be very beneficial.
Yeah. It was fun, though. I'd do it again. It's just, COVID came around the very next week and kind of pooped on our plans for anything else extra. So
I think the biggest takeaway from a lot of what Josh is saying and what Ben is saying is if you play Blood Bowl in a certain league or certain area, get out of your comfort zone and take those chances to travel, whether it's another country, whether it's another state, another tournament, like outside of your area. I think a lot of coaches get anxiety about like, oh, well, I don't know that crew. I don't want to travel all that way to do this. Like, believe me when I tell you, it's worth your time, effort, energy, money, all of it to do it at least once or twice, because it makes you a better coach playing people outside of your pool.
Well, speaking about getting out of your comfort zone, I answered the phone, and on the line we have Chris Nelson from Florida man himself. Say hello.
Uh-oh.
Hey, guys.
Why did they call him Florida Man? He's from Alaska. Why did they call him Florida Man? I can't get. We were just talking about about his nickname. We have a guy in Tampa. He shall remain nameless, and he would every couple of months be like, "I don't understand why we keep calling him Florida Man. He's not from Florida. He's from Alaska." They'd be like, "Yeah, but just go with it."
I am now. I've been here 5 years, so I think I count now.
You're forever Florida Man now.
I know.
Takes about 5 years.
So yeah. That's about enough time for permanent residency, I'd say.
The blood thins, with the warmth here. About 5 years is good.
Oh,
So
if I
Josh
went back
gave us-
home now, they'd laugh at me. I'd be wearing boots and a parka, and they'd be laughing.
Oh yeah, you don't belong there anymore. You're a Floridian now.
Yeah,
So
actually,
Josh gave us his take on Malta. So why don't you give us your take on Malta?
I can feel Ben rolling his eyes. No, I won't take up your time with Malta too much. It was great. I flew there with Josh and my wife. We got there the night before. I got sick, so the first day of the tournament, when we got to meet everybody, I was just like dying. We played
Team Netherlands to begin. We lost. We played Team Ireland next. Those guys were a hoot. Actually, everybody there was great. We didn't win that one either. So we started out not too great, but then we came back. We played Team Finland. And shout out to those guys. That was the team I hung out with the most when we were there. Just amazing. Beer. If you ever get a chance to meet him, that guy's hilarious. So the whole team. We got Team Finland. We got them. And then the next day, I was feeling better. We started out with Team Hungary. And fun thing, Cloudburster actually won me a game. Which is weird. Yeah, I know, right? The skill that like nobody ever uses, it like never matters. I was in a shootout with Lizardmen, and I had an elfin double coverage, and I threw the ball, and his Lizardman rolled a 6, and I made him re-roll it. So I got the catch, got the touchdown, won the game. And then we played Team Belgium. Those guys were professional. And then we finished up against Team Scotland, and I got to play Loki, whose NAF number is like 350 or something like that. Again, Lizardmen. And pulled that one out. That was a good match.
That's cool. That's cool to hear. And it's so cool to see. Like, I don't know. Was there any language barrier issues, or was that like, did everybody kind of have kind of a grasp of English, sort of, or?
Yeah, good question. Without calling out any specific teams, there was 1 or 2 teams that did not have that great of English. Most of the teams were completely fluent, other than a slight accent like you wouldn't even know. The language of the game was definitely English when you had, French and Italians, or, obviously English and Scottish and whatever else. So English was spoken everywhere, and it's one of the official languages of Malta. So all the organizers, all the help, everybody there spoke English. No language barriers for the most part. You did hear, the coaches talking with their own teams in their own language, strategizing and whatnot.
Interesting, because that could put us, only English speakers at a disadvantage if we're they're listening in on our conversations on that. Interesting.
They could pretend to be like, no hablo inglés, and then let you talk and strategize while they're hearing everything.
I did have a funny moment with the German coach. Because I have some German language skills. So he came up to our table at the after party one of the days and was having a conversation with me and the Finns, and I started talking in German to him, and he like looked at me, he says, "Wait a second, you're not on my team."
That's cool.
Well, what I want to know is, Chris, the last World Cup that occurred, I remember there being a lot of drama, a lot of issues, logistic issues. Did you walk away with was there any one event or any issue that came out of this? I haven't seen or heard anything in the chatter that was an issue with Malta. What'd you walk away with being so close to it?
So it was the single most professionally run tournament that I've ever been in. Sorry, James.
That's okay.
If there's one person, I cannot tell you how excellent it was. The lead organizer, Jean-Marc, actually, my wife and I got to go to dinner with him at a Maltese restaurant a few days after the tournament concluded. Just an excellent stand-up guy, everybody there. But it ran like clockwork. The final results were posted on the website within 5 minutes of the tournament ending. That's how good it was.
I heard the same thing from not just our coaches who went, but from everybody else. It was a well-oiled machine without any hiccup. There were no complaints. It was, the polar opposite of a lot of what happened in Dornbirn, which, was unfortunate. But they were really well prepared. Jean-Marc Melli ran a great show. Yeah.
It set a new standard that is going to be really hard to replicate. So I pity anybody that's throwing a major tournament to try to recreate that success. They should definitely talk to Jean-Marc and find out how he did it, because I don't know, personally.
Well, they're using X Score, which is Mike Davies. It's on his site. I don't know if he developed that, but I know he recommends it. And we've used that for TKC before for any team tournaments. We're going to be using that in Savannah for Safari Bowl. A Moracle Cup, when that happens in Canada, we'll see if they're able to do just as well as Euro Bowl and Alicante, Spain. Obviously, I don't know what they're using to run either of those events. But when you have those big team events, how you're running it and the software you're using, yeah, it'll make or break you. And from my experience, using X-Score is fantastic. Great, easy piece of. It's just basically it's built on Excel, so real easy to use.
Well, I think part of the problem that they faced with World Cup was the sheer volume of people. And this year, I think, is going to be bigger than that. Even we've had a new set of rules, and the game is catching on with other people. So, I wonder, do you think they'll be able to scale up and do it effectively? Was there anything that they did at Malta that would help them do better at World Cup? I guess to keep things moving, or is it just that issue of volume of people?
Another good question, Ben. As a person who only organized smaller tournaments, I really have no idea. They should definitely talk to Jean-Marc, though, and find out how he did it. Everything from the food delivery to the hotel to the buses in the morning, just perfect. Everything on time. Yeah, amazing.
Did they make you standardize skills in any way, I guess? Because that was, I think, one of the big points that made the World Cup kind of a problem in the past. Was they had these puzzle pieces. For those who don't know, they had these puzzle pieces that you assembled on the base, and it was a really cool idea. They had a guide with a big old list of colors and stuff, and depending on the color combination of the puzzle pieces around the base, that would represent different skills to kind of have that language barrier. Something that aided that. But did they do anything kind of near that, or anything special for skills at Malta?
So on the website, they listed specific colors for the major skills, such as dodge, block, mighty blow, and things like that you should use. The rest, though, was specifically said, just standardize it. If it's an agility skill, use this, etc. So it was relatively lax in that regard, but everybody going there was very professional about it. So sharing skill bands, it was really just skill bands. I know on my team specifically, I not only painted each base in a color to designate the type of player it was, but then I added in stickers. So that way it was written on the base as well. And then I also did skill bands. So there was never any problem with remembering any of the team's skills of anybody I played.
That's awesome. That's
less is more. Less is more.
Well, I think
we're all adults. They just left it up to the adults to do it, and it worked out.
And I mean, the level of the players at that event was also, those are the kind of the cream of the crop from every country too. So they're gonna kind of know what they're doing, I guess.
They play a different style there for sure. It was talked about a lot in the lead up, was that the European players kind of treat it almost more like chess. And I saw that particularly in my match against the Belgian coach, Leonard. He was playing Dark Elves versus my High Elves. And for the first 6 turns of the game, the ball was on his side of the pitch. And it was literally just pillar defense, one in the back of the other. And I just kept him on his side of the field until a failed cage dive opened up a hole for him to score on me. But it felt like that the whole time. It was really rather intimidating because we're more cowboys here, and they're more deliberate.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Great topics, great chatter. We really appreciate the phone call. At the end of the day, I did make this inaugural episode a call-in episode. So we will have audio episodes, but this one's a call-in episode, and Chris got the message. So thank you, Chris, for calling in. We really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. You have a wonderful night.
Take care, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Take care.
Phone lines open again, 813-618-7099. Gentlemen, I warned you up front, when it comes to a call-in show, we don't control the show. The callers do. It just kind of goes the flow. But you know what? It also helps time fly because we're about an hour in already. So thank you all the callers that have popped in. And we'll get back to talking more Blood Bowl here, 813-618-7099, if you want to divert us into a different topic. Benny, how'd you feel about there's, you know what? There's another, I know this name, though.
Uh-oh.
Beans and Dice Podcast. Say hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
We got you, Barry.
Carlos, I'm sure that you're just a figment of my imagination. You don't really exist.
I feel like this last year since I had that baby girl, it's kind of been that MO. But I am still alive. I'm here.
Okay, so you and Dick Open are still alive.
We are. You've been holding the fort down for Beans and Dice when it comes to the Blood Bowl representation, because you are Beans and Dice.
So you should have asked Chris if he printed out his roster for Euro Bowl.
You mean so you could look at it, or do you mean if he brought one with him because he's notorious for not?
Yeah, because you know how notorious Chris is for not bringing rosters.
I think there's a few of us that are bad about that. There's been more than one time I've been driving or riding in the car and scribbling my skills down on a sheet or something. So that
I made my Papa Nurgle Valentine roster in the car. But I had help with tour play. So we used that for that.
I won't mention any names. Eric Nyberger.
Chris says in the comments that he did not write his list down. So,
but Turkey Brawl was a fun tournament. So I think there are several people who will. What's the name of the table that Woj used?
Desperate Measures.
Unrelenting. Desperate Measures. Chris and I were talking on that on the way home, and we know Will Mayo specifically did not go to that tournament just because Desperate Measures were being used.
Wow, look at him calling Will Mayo out. Oh boy.
Hey, I didn't go either.
Even though, I'm not calling them out for it. Chris and I decided that if I didn't play with anyone who had it, but Chris and I decided if it's ever in a sevens tournament again, we're not going because those are all broken they're all broken. They are game busting.
I think, what else? That brings up a good point. Because I do think now I don't like to get too much into the weeds with that because like I was looking at the World Cup rule set and I'm skeptical on it. It's very bare bones and like I said, wacky for me. Wackier is better, and they're kind of putting limits on things. But I don't know. Once you get your heart set on, going to a tournament or seeing the people that you, especially local, being around the people you like, and sevens is so crazy anyway. It would have to be really nuts for me to not play a game, not to play a tournament just because of a rule set. But I totally get that because it is nuts. But
and I normally like wackier is better too, but it was just those things are not wacky. They're game breaking. A touchdown where you don't have to make any rolls and you automatically catch, free touchdown. Double activation on any character that has movement 7 or more, free touchdown. It's not like these are, hey, this adds a little bit of silliness to the game. It's no, these completely ignore all the rules of the game and throw them out the window. So anyone who's fond of rules are going to be like, hell no, I don't want to play with these.
Yeah, I kind of feel it on that. Sevens has become a little different lately. I don't know what it was, if it was something in the rule change, or it just seems like sevens has become more brutally fast, and I know that's what they're aiming for, but I used to really like sevens and that was my favorite, and now it's like just a number of different things have made it where the speed teams are just a little bit more dominating, and I can't put my finger on it. I don't know.
It's always been that way.
Ask James, you could ask James Luft about brutally fast. He was there for many of the skulls that I rolled yesterday. Skulls and ones were pretty much all I rolled. He has a video of one of my skulls, and you hear him laughing at the end of it.
Was that you're the one with the automatic dice roller, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The Pop-O-Matic that he's got going on over there?
Oh, wow.
It's not a Pop-O-Matic, it's a dice spitter.
It looks like a Pop-O-Matic. I love it.
That thing is awesome.
And as soon as he filmed it, and that was an actual roll in the game, I rolled a skull.
Yeah, he's like, take a video. And I'm like, great idea.
At the end of the video.
As soon as I pull up the thing and take the video, he rolls a skull. Man, that was funny. I'm going to watch that till I die. That was great. But yeah, that was very popular, that dice roller. I posted it on the BBC on the Blood Bowl community Facebook group. And it did trigger a few people like, nope, absolutely not. I will not play against somebody who uses that. But I'll tell you what, the vast majority of people who saw it were like, that is awesome.
A lot of people were asking, where can I get one?
Yeah, Amazon, AliExpress. There's a couple different places that people can get it from, and it's not expensive. How much was that thing? Like $20?
It was like $15. Originally, I wanted a Pop-O-Matic, and I tore up. I bought a Game of Trouble, and I thought the board was going to be cardboard, but it was all plastics. It was a pain to cut the Pop-O-Matic out. But then I realized that the dice in Trouble are small dice, so it wouldn't actually work with Blood Bowl dice.
Right.
So I just put too many sixes I had in it, and that's what made me go online to look to see, well, can I find an actual Pop-O-Matic? And there was one guy who was selling one that looked like a castle, but it was like $50. I didn't want to spend that much for it. And I found another one online, except you couldn't remove the dice. You couldn't take the bubble off. So that didn't work. And finally, I saw the dice spinner, which was suggested for using with Mahjong. And I'm like, you know what? That looks like it's big enough it'll work. And I got it. Sure enough, it spins the dice. Well, it tumbles the dice. Like, you actually see them flipping over. So it's not like it's just spinning and they're not moving. And it even works with a 3-dice lock.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, when there's more dice in there, you can actually see the dice hitting each other and getting agitated more, and you get a more natural, like one works, but 2 is better, 3 is best.
Like
it's pretty cool.
Popcorning.
I'm telling you, I have the video queued up because I knew this was going to come up, so I'm going to try and present it here and play it.
Oh, we're playing with these skills here. Yeah, let's show the folks at home.
All right,
see, to me, while you work on that, it reminded me of the kids' toy. It's kind of like that handle with the little pop bubble, and as they drag it behind them, all the balls are popping inside of it. It kind of reminded me of.
Well, we got one of those.
We brought up the It brought up the conversation about how I used to make fun of you at X-Wing tournaments for using your dice cup. Because in X-Wing, dice cups weren't, as prevalent as they are in Blood Bowl. And then Jack gave me a custom dice cup with my name on it. So I started using it, and then I'm like, darn, I can't make fun of Carlos anymore because I'm using a dice cup. And then I figured, I have to find something for my rolls being so bad. And yesterday, I tried rolling my dice by hand, I tried using my dice cup, and I tried using the spinner. Nuffle was having none of it yesterday. I need to change my NAF ID to Nuffle's Home, or Nuffle's Side Piece.
I mean, that's been the standard for you, Barry. Like, I can't think of a tournament where you didn't come back screaming at me about the Nuffle screw that you've taken at that moment.
Like, I built a serious list that should have done well in that tournament, and it would be like I would roll 2 die uphill. The only thing I need is no skull. It could be any other thing shows up. All I need is no skull. Skull shows up. Several times, all I needed was not to roll a 1. I roll a 1. With re-roll, because of built-in skill, roll a 1 a second time.
Now, Barry, I'm watching the video of the tumbler here. It looks like it comes with an opaque cup to cover the dice tumbler. Maybe the dice don't want to be seen during the tumble. So if you give them some privacy.
See, but then I could definitely see someone complaining if they don't see the dice bouncing around.
Yeah, they missed the little snotlings running in there and flipping it to the side you need.
Yeah, magnets and stuff,
But
it's magic.
But I had fun. I still had fun like I always do because I got to see my Blood Bowl family, which I love seeing, and I haven't seen in a while. And because I've seen Nick C more often than I've seen Nick Oben, Nick C is now my favorite Nick, and Nick Oben has become my second favorite Nick. So Nick from Brevard Gaming Lounge has overtaken Nick Oben, only because I've seen him more recently and more frequently than I see Nick O, even though Nick O's only 45 minutes from me.
Yeah, it's been rough getting Blood Bowl out on this side of town, but I'm looking for. I told wifey I need to get back into a league to get that drive going again. Get back into a league motion.
Unfortunately, Armada's not going to start one till beginning of the year.
They usually wait for the holidays to pass up, and then once the holiday, which is smart because I would cancel every week, with kids and events at school and all the other stuff on the holidays. I'd be canceling all the time. So I'm looking forward to getting to the new year and starting fresh. All right,
It's
Barry,
also a
last
shame
final
mostly
note for the
Hammerfall.
folks at home.
Love everyone. Good to see you guys. And I'm glad I brought amusement to James yesterday.
A lot of amusement. I'm watching that video. Is like there are people who watch videos like of people doing things, and it's like popping pimples or whatever, doing weird stuff. I could watch that dice video probably for the rest of my life, every hour on the hour. That thing's entertaining as hell.
Walter,
Good
are
night,
you
Barry.
coming
All
out
right,
to
love you guys.
Christmas with Cthulhu?
I'm not going to Christmas with Cthulhu, but I will probably go to the hurricane one up in Gainesville.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll see you there.
We have some of the guys from St. Pete are going, and I'll probably ride with them.
Very cool.
So later.
Take care, Barry. Also known as Walter. It goes by many names.
The notorious
Phone lines
WBC.
open 813-618-7099, folks.
I like when people find creative ways to roll. Dice superstition is an interesting topic. I'd love to do a whole show on that sometime because, the role players, they roll a certain way sometimes. Some people swear by the cup. Other people use the tower. And, some people put them up their nose. And
All three, bro. I'm going to use a cup into a tower that rolls into a tray.
Yeah.
Right, whatever works, I guess.
But
if
yeah,
we find
there's a
out
lot
the
of
magic formula, we probably should, I'm going to give a shout out to Will Mayo. He needs some dice rolling techniques or something.
My only thing is when people roll them onto the table and they knock stuff over, I'm just like, and we all used to do that, I think, when we first started playing, and then you find kind of what works for you. But the cup has just been perfect for me.
I spent too much money on commission painted models for you to roll your dice into my miniatures. So
those big metal ones, the big metal dice, and just throw.
Well, we got another caller
People
in.
are superstitious. We'll
Say hello, Adam from Florida.
Adam from Florida. Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey,
it's going good.
That's Serpico. He's all cleaned up now.
I am no longer Serpico.
No, I'm looking like Serpico, but no, you're Adam Cadlick. I'm so glad you called in, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you at an upcoming tournament. You're like one of those guys like Nick Oben, and I got the benefit of seeing Brad Fritz this weekend at Turkey Brawl 2. Life is busy. Everybody's got stuff going on. You can't make every Florida Blood Bowl tournament, but there's just always people, and it's a family thing. It's a community thing for me that I always look forward to seeing, and you, sir, are one of them. And I can't wait to see you at the Gainesville event.
Oh, you're gonna make me blush. So I just want to comment on a couple of things. One, Mr. Luff, I want to ask, how did the Ocala event go?
Yeah, that was at boy, tell me the name of the store. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Warpfire Minis. Yeah. Ben went to that one as well. We both turned up. The guy running it, his name is Vinny. Can't think of his last name at the moment, but man, let me tell you, and I posted this online. That guy, I've run so many Blood Bowl demos, and I've seen other people run demos, stores, and just people in the community. This guy was so on top of everything. We probably had about 10 people come out to play, which is kind of what he was gauging, what he wanted. And he had 10 well-painted teams with pre-generated rosters, each team against each other at a table with Blood Bowl pitch, with Blood Bowl dice. He was ready for everything, and he was very well up on the rules. And he was very easy to engage and talk to and ask questions with. I watched while I was playing a demo match against another guy. And yeah, he nailed it, man. He absolutely nailed it. So I think the store did really well by having him come out there and do it. And I think they're going to have a league be starting up pretty soon. And I was impressed with the whole thing. I love doing Blood Bowl demos. And that was a great day.
And the reason I ask is because, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's hard to run a demo sometimes. It's a kind of more involved game. So getting someone to sit down and listen to you talk about it is tough sometimes.
Yeah, I've been doing lots of demos up here in Jacksonville. Blood Bowl's been well received up here. I've got people buying new teams. Three new teams have been purchased last week. It was nice.
That's fantastic. I mean, getting people, buying stuff is always great, but getting them into the game, and that's the thing. Like, I'll hear it a lot is, well, what am I looking to spend if I'm going to get into Blood Bowl? I mean, honestly, if I'm going to throw out a number, you get in the Blood Bowl less than $100. You can go even cheaper if you want to, but seriously, if you buy a team, which is they're up to about what $60 retail for a GW team, or
50,
but 50. Some of the third-party models are the same, or a little bit more, or a little bit less, or you buy a cube of dice and maybe some paints or whatever gets started. But yeah, less than $100 I think you can get into Blood Bowl, and it lasts you a long time until
lifetime
you get
game.
Until you get bit, like Nick Oben was talking about before. How many teams am I up to now?
Yeah, I'm at 23 now. So
that's a lot, but not a lot.
Yeah, most of them painted now.
So the reason why is because I was Mr. Joker himself, Eric, and I were down in Orlando a couple weeks ago. It was the same day that you're doing the Ocala event, and we were spreading the gospel of Nuffle at Ellipses Brewing. They had some kind of pop-up event that happened, and there's a bunch of different dice vendors and things of that nature, and we were trying to talk to pretty much anyone that was willing to listen at all those different dice tables about they'd ask us, you play tabletop, you play D&D and stuff. We're like, nope, we play Blood Bowl. What's that? And so if anything, we gave the dice people some interesting ideas for another revenue stream with regards to dice. But
oh yeah, they're out there. Those dice. Let me not use that W word. Seeking those dice.
My God, it's a whole other
market. Mr. Luft missed out on the no longer Serpico. That is myself and Nyberger. We tried convincing him with Portillo's, and that did not work.
That's weird. That usually works for me. I'm like, hey, you want to bring that stuff out here? We can meet up at Portillo's. You
guys had me at Aku Aku. That's like Eric took me.
Oh
to
yeah,
place.
That was right. Aku Aku.
Aku Aku is the best. It's a little tiki bar, and if you've been to TKC, then I'm all about the tiki bars. This place is like heaven on earth. It is awesome. The drinks are awesome. The vibe is awesome. It is within walking distance of Eric's condo, so if you imbibe a little too much, you have a safe place to stay. But yeah, man, coming back from Ocala, I was wrecked from the night before. I went to a concert in St. Pete, so I drove all the way to St. Pete and then home, and then drove home to Ocala the next day and then home. And I just, God damn it, I-4, man, it is like the devil's highway.
Oh my gosh.
You could go east, but as soon as you start going west, where no matter where you are on I-4, you are screwed with traffic. And I was in traffic going 20 miles per hour, and Eric, every 5 seconds, Serpico, Aku. And I'm like, man, you're killing me, dude. Like, I want to come in the worst way. And I thought, I am not going to get to Orlando until like 9:30 at night. And then I'm going to drink a bunch and then drive an hour home. I'm like, I can't. But if you ever have the opportunity, go to Aku Aku Tiki Bar in Orlando. It is worth your time and money. It is a great, great establishment. Awesome place. That's all I got to say about that.
Fair enough. And I was just going to talk more in general about my experience with Blood Bowl as a whole and the community in general.
Adam, please. What you don't understand is when I do a call-in show, the idea is I get free content from the callers. I mean, it's content. It's your show now, Adam. You're the captain.
Oh
now.
Yeah, not a problem. So I got wrangled into Blood Bowl because of said shenanigans. Eric Nyberger. We played kickball together, and he informed me of this game that was it was, as he put it, American football meets Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, go on. Yeah, you get to kill people in this game too. Go on.
That's literally my analogy I give to people. football and rugby mixed with Lord of the Rings.
And it was, I mean, I got hooked pretty damn quickly. And I remember going to my first tournament, which was the Ancient City Barrel Bash. And that was
Is that St. Augustine? If I'm right.
That was it was the first one that Clay Hare did, and or the first it was the first iteration of Agent City Barrel Bash, and it was my first tournament, and it was just a very unique experience because one, just getting, I want to say there's like 30 plus coaches there, and like I barely had a month's worth of experience with the game. I had Eric pretty much just throw a roster together for me. I had only played High Elves. Like it was, I did terrible. I didn't get a wooden spoon, but I didn't do great. But like everyone was just super awesome throughout the tournament. Everyone was like respectful and wanting to like help me out, with the exception of a couple of tryhards, we'll say. But that was only during the tournament itself. Everyone afterwards was just awesome. And it was a great experience, and it turned me into enjoying the game and wanting to participate. And I just remember going tournament after tournament for quite a while, and then the pandemic happened, and then the changes to the rules and everything, and I kind of fell off there for a little bit, but it's been just great getting to know these people and getting to see familiar faces, and the different things, especially like during the pandemic. There was such huge support. People were struggling, people were falling on hard times, and I was seeing a lot of different raffles out there. Luft being the heart of gold that he is, helping people out left and right, and just trying to, it is a community. And so, it was awesome to just see everyone to come together for one another in that aspect. So
I think there's many of us that can share that similar story, where it's the game that got me in. It's the people that kept me coming back.
Yeah, this
there
community.
are many game options. You can see my shelves, right? There's so many game options to play, but there aren't the people that are here. What were you saying, Jonathan?
Oh, I was just saying the community is one of the best communities I've ever been part of, and I really, really appreciate all the guys here and all the people I've met. I just wish I could make more tournaments, but
we all do, though. We're all dads, and we're all husbands, and most of us dads, husbands, or whatever, wives, and we got jobs, we got lives. It's hard to do as much as like what James does, but when I do show up 8, 9, 10 months later, it feels like I never left.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think a lot of us try and stay in contact with each other through doing things like that, like going out, hanging out. We have a chat, a Florida Blood Bowl chat, that just goes on incessantly all day long, all week long, all month long, all year long. It doesn't stop. But I'll be honest, like that chat has made it an easier day for me dealing with real world stuff, just to go in there and just talk shit about whatever. But the social aspect of it, going out to dinner after a tournament, or going out for drinks one night, or doing whatever, those things really kind of just help in a lot of ways. So we have a great community, Florida Blood Bowl. I mean, a lot of Blood Bowl communities have great communities, but I think, call it biased, but I feel like ours is extra special.
I think everyone being adults and having jobs and having families and having all sorts of obligations, they take the game, I wouldn't say more seriously, but they take your opponent's time more seriously too, because that's always been an issue with some games. Like with Magic and stuff. I used to play Magic, and these guys are out 3 or 4 nights a week playing, and it's like, well, if they're losing, they throw up their hands, pack up their deck, and they're done because they're going to play again tomorrow. But with Florida, it's like we all understand this is our weekend out. Try to make the most of this out because after this it's working and working for at least another couple of weeks until the next one. So
bring up valid points. Adam, I want to talk to you a little bit about the point you brought up with the tryhards because I listen, guilty as charged. Carlos is tryhard. Like I try not to be that guy, and I try to be the nice guy. But you brought up a great point. You're playing with that tryhard in the tournament, but you mentioned the after the tournament. It kind of reminds me of like those UFC fights you watch, where those two guys are killing each other, like destroying each other, and then as soon as that last bell rings, they're like hugging and like holding each other and comforting each other. It's that moment of the competition. How do you deal with that? That dealing with the try hard and then like talking to them after the match when the tournament's done and you're having beers.
Well, if for those who know me, and if you ever were to pull up my bio on the Florida Blood Bowl website, I think I'm quoted by saying, in essence, I just want to roll dice and get drunk, and fuck the meta. Sorry.
It's okay. It's after dark. It's after 10 o'clock Florida time. We're good.
All right. But yeah, so I'm just one that I never expect to ever be at top table, only because of the fact that I'm not one that is going to sit there and actually strategize and learn like the chevron versus the whatever, right? Like that's just not me. Like I want to go there. I want to play the game. I want to hopefully have a good time with the people I'm playing against, and then afterwards go out and have some drinks, good food, etc. But when I totally understand, like, this is their thing that they're being competitive with, and I get that. It is difficult though, especially considering the randomness that this game is. They're obviously, because of the game itself, there's, certain teams are going to be innately better than other teams. So it's just learning how to use,
it's not a balanced game by any stretch.
Exactly. But I think what has helped over the years is the fact that, these are people, and maybe this is their thing to, like you said, like, you've got crappy work or whatever. And like, this is the way that, like, you get to have a release from that, and you get to quote unquote, like, dominate someone for nothing in a game where you were able to get 5 casualties on them. And, like that, hey, that's the way that's going to make you feel better, by all means. Like, good for you. Glad I was able to be on the wrong end of that stick. As long as they're just not jerks during the game itself, then, I'm copacetic with all of it.
Good advice to the folks out there. Good advice. Thank you for the phone call, Adam, for, understanding the assignment. It is a call-in show, and you made it happen. There's a lot of people in the comments. I see y'all in the comments. It is a call-in show. So be like Adam. Call in.
Yeah. Be like me. Be like Silent Fall. All right.
Thanks for calling in, brother. Appreciate you.
Take it easy, guys. All right. Later.
Thanks, Adam.
That was pretty cool. I get to meet some new people that I haven't got to play games with.
Adam's a great guy. So ironically, we've done 2 raffles in Florida where teams were put up. I put up my own teams as part of the raffle, and he won both of them on way separate occasions. So it seems like if I have anything good and it ever goes up for raffle, it's more than likely going to go to Adam.
They just have fun, and good things will happen. I will say there was a comment in the chat. Our buddy Edmund England, who is usually a regular commenter out of Sweden. So I want to give you guys an achievement to the group here. We've made it international. Edmund England from Sweden had commented in our chat. So we are internationally acclaimed Florida Blood Bowl podcast.
On a similar note, for Safari Bowl, the team tournament that's going to go down in Savannah, Georgia, we got a guy coming from Ipswich over in the UK. He reached out and he's like, hey, I'm going to be in Savannah on that weekend. Is there any way I can get on a Blood Bowl team? And we still had a team building, and he was able to get on that team and round it out to 4 coaches. So it's now an international tournament.
Ooh,
That's
fancy.
awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, very happy. More the merrier.
Achievement unlocked.
Well, I know a lot of people can't always catch the shows either. We are doing, we're at, it's kind of a weird time of night. I see you're having a couple beers. I'm a little jealous there. I should have saved a few for myself.
You can always do like Luft and just leave the stream, go grab them, come back.
That was a bathroom break.
If you can't call in and you want to share some information with us, those who are in the know, the Florida Blood Bowl zine is still hopefully going strong for a little while. There'll be a new issue out this week. We're going to distribute it at the Christmas with Cthulhu, but there's contact information in there for myself, and I would love to hear from you guys. If you have an article, if you've got a short story, even if you've got like a letter or something, like a call-in type of situation, we have questions and you want something answered from the community, we're always looking for content.
How do they reach you?
Normbreeder at Gmail is a good one. Otherwise, through the Florida Blood Bowl Facebook page isn't bad either.
Spell that out, Normbreeder.
NORNBREEDER at gmail.com.
NORN.
Mm-hmm. That's my NAF name, Nornbreeder. I'll get into that someday, what that means. But yeah, we're always looking for good content, or if you do art or anything that you want to share, we would love to have it. We don't do a digital distribution of it, and that was by design. I'm kind of a weird thing, but I like the idea of like something physical, that it was only existing in physical form. I think that, it's an artifact people might find and see years from now and be like, oh, look at that. So, but we do mail them out. I think James has been pretty good about that, mailing them out to different people who want them over.
If you ask, I'll mail it, and I'll pay the postage. I don't care. It's only a dime or a stamp. So yeah, if anybody wants a copy, back issue. This next one coming out, Ben, you got 4 done in a year, so that this is issue 4 coming out, right?
We're trying. Yep, that'll be issue 4. We try to do them quarterly, but life has been. We got a 15-month-old baby at home, so life has been kind of crazy. And my wife.
I'm with you, Bobby. Our kids are about a month apart.
Yeah.
It was different having kids at like 20 and 30, but having a kid at 40, bro, I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beat. So I feel you. And I'm with you, Ken, or Ben, when it comes to the idea of the analog. There's just something different about disconnecting from the Matrix. You said it earlier. I love it.
I'm old school too. I like just having a physical copy in my hands, man. I like the magazine, the e-zines a little.
It's on the stool in my bathroom. I mean, I'm just saying. It's
good reading material, yeah.
Yeah, we try to put the tournaments in there too, so that if you are looking to find a tournament or a league, and if there's anything you want to add to it, like if you have a league that's starting and you want to advertise or something, we'd love to put stuff like that in there, because part of it is we were hoping that maybe people will leave them around the stores where there's games being played or games being sold, and that would help new people find others to play with.
Yeah, find a bigger community. Like a lot of people will get into the game through a league and then eventually enter into the tournament scene and then, meet so many more of us. But we also, if there's anything that you want to promote as well, Ben would certainly consider it. But like 2 right off the top of my head that I could think of is, and these are shameless plugs, by the way. One is Josh Wojcik's painting service. Not only is he like our local commodity, but he could be yours as well. He does a lot of commission work. And I could tell you that I like to use a lot of different commission painters to kind of get a little bit then help a lot of different people out. But there's one thing that I've learned is a lot of it comes down to reliability. Some people will be like, well, I don't know this person. How do I know that I'm going to like what I'm paying for? Or how do I know that I'm getting a good price? Or how do I trust this person? Well, let me be the first to tell you, out of all the commission painters I've ever used, Josh is, when he tells you he's going to do something, he will exceed your expectations. He's fantastic, great to work with, always nails it. I probably have, I know I at least have a team painted by him and probably more than a dozen models painted by him, and they're all amazing. And the other one is, let me just plug the other one really quick. The other one is Maelstrom Gaming Mats. Jack Petrucia from up in Canada. He is I think, the leading manufacturer of neoprene pitches, not only in the United States and in Canada, but across the world. I mean, he has a map that he keeps in his office with a pin in it of everywhere that he's sent out pitches too worldwide, and it's a pretty full map. Jack is great to design custom stuff. He does neoprene pitches, dice cups, tokens, dice trays, trophies, everything. If you look for his name, Jack Petrucia from Maelstrom Gaming Mats in the Blood Bowl community, you'll see that his reputation is as sterling as Josh's is when, in what they do. So 2 shameless plugs, but both of them really support Florida Blood Bowl, so I can't say enough good things about them.
Well, that's part of it too. I was going to say is that, these are people not only that are providing services, but they're also providing when there have been some charity raffles and when there have been some things where we need to raise money. These are people that are taking their own resources and providing those things and putting them up for free so that we can raise money for someone who might be in need. So definitely never hurts to support somebody who supports the community.
And supporting the community over, 13, 14 years ago, walked into this store and this guy treated me like I was family. So on the line, we have Michael from Armada Games, who was the shop that sold me my first Blood Bowl set and the place where I learned my first Blood Bowl game. Say hi, Michael.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Doing good. So, sorry, my brain took a walk because a plane flew overhead.
It's happened to me before too.
So, Barry brought up the league that we're going to be running, but we do have some stuff going on for the next year. I hope you don't mind if I plug this door a little bit, Carlos.
No, Bobby, we've been together a long time, you and I, more than half my kids, okay? I've known you longer than half my kids.
That is kind of freaky to realize. Like, we've been open for 16 years now, and yeah, we have people that are bringing up like 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds from like people that have gotten married because they met at our store and now are bringing their kids up to play in our store. It's a little wild. But yeah, we're going to be doing a league in January, and I'm actually formatting it for a tournament style. So full regeneration, star players, all the fun stuff. Just working on the final rules to put out here in the next couple weeks. Started sometime in January, and I need James. I'm going to message you later because
okay.
I need to get that the tournament that I wanted to run last year. I want to run goddamn planes.
Oh, that's great.
Michael's been drinking as much as I have tonight.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's fun stuff. And Ben, you're talking about doing a thing like doing a conversation about like stats, and one of the things that you needed to, one of the topics you should go over if you like deep dive in is perceived odds versus actual odds, because we all know that the turn 16 double go for it with a reroll, like definitely is like a 1% chance to actually happen, but
it happens.
Have they? Yeah.
We had to explain that. We had to explain that to a new player at the demo because it happened to him, and he was like, "What are the odds of this happening?" It's like it'll happen every time. You can pretty much expect that.
Fail 100% of the time.
It's a one in, or failing one of those 3 dice. Like, you're sure it's going to happen. Like, I think it's like 11% of the time, but it's definitely 99.5 easy. That's one of the things I love about this game is like you guys were talking about rolling dice and it being and balance is like any amount of balance they put into the game is going to get subsumed by the dice every time. But it's still, and it's my favorite miniatures game. I've been playing it for almost 30 years. And for talking about picking up the dice, like or picking up the ball. I've been playing Kimry for the entire time that I've played, and it's like, yep, I have spent 3 rerolls and 5 turns picking up the ball under the old rules. It's like,
love Kimry.
I love the team, and it's frustrating as hell sometimes, but you just got to plan for it.
Yeah, you love that team, but they don't love you as much as you love them.
Oh God, no.
No.
Is legs still there?
Yes, I still have legs.
I've played many times against his Kimry team.
I legs will never be reassembled.
A
He
skeleton
is
model,
a
right?
staple of my team. Yeah, it's one of my skeletons. He broke off at the waist, as the old metal Kimry models tend to do.
Oh God.
So I pinned him,
Yeah, for sure.
and then he broke, and then I repaired him, and then it's the same model, broke 3 times. So now he's just a pair of skeletal legs that I just leave as that, and I do my best to get him enough points for a skill up, and I give him. He's the model that I give kick to every time that I can.
Oh, that's funny.
This game,
was one of the
it
worst
speaks a
kits.
lot because of this game of Blood Bowl, right? Michael's been a part of me developing this Beans and Dice and the call-in show stuff for years now, right? And I can't think of when he's called into the show before. He's been on the show, but I can't think of when he's called into the show. So the fact that we're doing a Blood Bowl specific episode and he actually takes time to call in says a lot about this game. And he's been around this Beans and Dice stuff from the beginning.
Well, Thursday night is the busiest night of the week at the store. So more often than not, like if I do get a chance to actually play a game, if it happens on Thursday, it generally happens late in the night. So like 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'm sit down and actually play a game. Or we've got so many people that I can't walk away. So generally I tend to, like when I get a chance to listen in, it's 1 o'clock at night.
Well, we bring up
thankfully
Blood
you guys
Bowl
are
and
not
he
still
happens to
taking phone
call
calls.
in. He's trying to make excuses, but we talk Blood Bowl. He calls
hey,
in
it's
because Blood
Sunday.
Bowl matters.
Blood Bowl is my favorite miniatures game. By far.
Give the folks at home an idea of when we can expect the next league. Estimated time
league,
frames.
The league start will be middle of January. I will have the rules and signups ready for it. A weekend. Wait, we're November. By about December 10th, I should have it all finalized and published. And it's going to be a league format. So I'm going to be doing weekly pairings based off of the game results, submitted rosters. There's not going to be any progression or injuries, like carryover injuries. So just like you're playing in a 6-game tournament,
Oh wow!
so we'll be
I like
doing
it.
it over the course of 6 weeks with a Saturday. Hopefully, we can schedule a Saturday to do 2 rounds of playoffs in one day. But I'm going to leave that a little bit more open than like a specific day for it.
All right. Well, I'll bring to you all live matches from the shop. So I'll commit to bringing some camera gear and getting some live matches, and at minimum, getting that final last championship game streamed live from Armada Games. In the comments, we got Walter Barry Kreitzer yelling out, "Love you, Michael!" So showing some love.
Hi, Barry.
Well, we appreciate you, man. You've been a big, you've been my dealer, man, from day one. Like here's a little free hit, and then like since
Plastic
then,
crack. Yep.
I've been hooked. So I've always appreciated having you around, Michael.
Hey, I take my role as an enabler very seriously, so that you don't have to.
Thanks, man. Have a good evening. Enjoy your
Yep.
Thanksgiving weekend, and I will see you soon.
Yep. See you, buddy.
Take care.
Thanks, Michael.
He
So really
never
quick-
calls. Never calls.
Armada is one of those stores that I got into contact with through Crucible when we were doing Blood Bowl at Crucible, and I got to meet his brother Aaron and Michael. And Armada has always been good to Florida Blood Bowl. We've done more than a few tournaments there. They've been always when TKC came back after about a 10-year hiatus or more from when Old Man Monkey was running it over in Orlando, and the first one we did that was kind of bringing that tournament back to Florida, like back into the limelight, was at Armada Games, and they were so good to us, having us there for 2 days. And let me tell you, we do tournaments all over Florida, which I think is one of the key things about Florida Blood Bowl, is we don't just play in the same game store. We're all over Florida, and Armada has always been one of those stores where they've always had Blood Bowl in stock. Like, so I can tell, like when Michael says it's his favorite game, I know that it is, because it's not easy to do that. And Armada is one of those stores where anytime you needed something or something was coming out, if you called them, they would have it, or they would get it for you, or they would have it on the show. Like, they're a great store. So if you haven't had the opportunity to get out to Tampa, they're at Temple Terrace.
Yep, in Tampa,
that
just
way?
a small suburb of Tampa. It's pretty much in the city of Tampa. It's not far.
Yeah, pop
It's
in
like
there.
20
and,
minutes from my house.
Yeah, pop in there and buy some stuff from Armada.
I was
Games.
going to. It's over by USF, so I went to USF, and Armada opened up right nearby USF. I was living in that same area. It worked out great.
If you go on the Florida Blood Bowl Facebook group, there's a pinned post that has every FLGS and Warhammer store all throughout Florida. So if you're ever like, and I've actually had coaches reach out to me because God knows I have nothing better to do with my life, where they'll be like, "Hey man, I'm going on a road trip here. Where can I go and buy Blood Bowl?" And I'd be like, "Well, funny you would ask. We have a map that will show you everywhere you could stop." And I've referenced that map myself to help people, go here, go to this store, go to this store. So, yeah, we
And you know
do
what, fellas? We are down to the last 20 minutes of what we planned. So at this point, I know we have some topics we haven't hit yet. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's something. So, well, here, let me just really quick kind of go over what's going on coming up for
So
Florida Blood
what I'm
Bowl.
going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut off the phone line at this point to allow us an opportunity to get those final points in for us. So the phone lines are shut down, and we will, like we do on the Beans and Dice show, right around 10:30, 10:45, we wrap up with our comments, our end of show notes, and news stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for y'all now. That way we don't get the interruption. So thank you to everyone that called into the call-in show. The phone line individual
thank you.
is shutting down for the evening, but this won't be the last time that we do this because this is a lot of phone calls, bro. This is way more calls than I get on a regular Thursday night for the Beans and Dice show. So the show is yours. Wrap it up for them.
Yeah, we're going to do this again in December. We're going to try and do this monthly, and this is going to be a thing. I think Florida Blood Bowl has grown as a community, and we're doing a lot of events, and we have a lot of locals who come out to play, and a lot of people who are interested in coming here. So, I think we deserve, a format such as this, and I really appreciate Carlos from the Beans and Dice podcast to lend us his time to be able to do this. So, but yeah, really quick, let me just kind of go over what we have coming up for Florida Blood Bowl, and then I'll leave it to Ben and Jonathan to kind of finish it up. So next weekend, we've already mentioned we have the Christmas with Cthulhu event. That's going to be at Get Your Fun On in Melbourne. It's a team tournament, 2 coaches. We're looking at about 20 coaches so far. That is the last regular Voodoo tournament event for 2022. After that, on the 17th in Gaines, Vegas, aka Gainesville, we have the Hurricane Bowl, which is the first tournament organized and run by Nick Blackie, and that's going to be at a brand new game store. Oh boy, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I'm going to have to look it up really quick just so I can give them that plug. But they're going to have alcohol beverages there. It's a brand new game store. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're all looking forward to that. We're also combining that with the Voodoo Tournament Series awards ceremony. So throughout the course of the year, for those who don't know, we have a tournament series. The NAF allows those throughout the United States. There are several other ones. This is ours, and it represents Florida, Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, and Alabama. And we track all of the tournaments to build points to see who ends up coming out on top at the end of the season. So we're tacking that on at the end of Nick Blackie's tournament. And really quick, that's going to be at Gaines Vegas Hurricane Bowl. Clickety click. Yeah, I can't find it. I suck. It's in Gainesville. It's like Punk Outer is the name of the game store. And that's going to be on the 17th. Then we have, if you're a fan of the Macho Man Randy Savage, which everyone should be, Joe Hoffman is running a tournament in January at Dogs of War Gaming, and it's going to be a Friday hooky bowl. So take the day off of work, call in sick, schedule it off, whatever you got to do to attend the event. Hooky bowls are great. Great way to blow off steam. Come out and pay homage to the Macho Man. And then I'll finish with the big ones. Three Kingdoms Challenge, TKC, is going to be in Orlando at the Wyndham in Celebration. It's going to be a team tournament, 2 coaches, and that's going to be in May. All the dates are on the Florida Blood Bowl group. We have Savannah, which is Safari Bowl, coming up in February. That's going to be in Savannah, the end of February. And then, like we started off talking about, we have Chaos Cup coming to Florida. It's going to be in Orlando, and it's going to be the first weekend of November. And yeah, that's pretty much the big ones. So hope to see a lot of you out at those events.
I love it. I love it. And I was just telling James the other day, I'm like, I love team events. I think they're cool. You don't see a lot
Oh
of
no, a technical error here. I guess I didn't close that phone line. I'm worried. I wonder who this is. Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is TJ from Colorado. James calls me Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, sweet Christmas.
I'm gonna go Denzel Washington on this one. My man.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
TJ, welcome to the show, sir. What do you got for the folks at home?
Hey.
How's it going?
Yeah. No, I was just I was cooking and I got a YouTube notification. I saw James on there. I was like, well, I gotta support James. So this is my first time ever calling in anywhere, but I definitely want to do it. Yeah, I'm super proud of what you guys have accomplished over there in Florida. Like I stay tapped in when I can. Obviously, I got I work a job, I got school and whatnot, but you guys have an awesome community over there, and it's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah,
TJ's doing the same in Colorado. You are really growing, helping grow
I'm
that community.
trying.
Well, we're talking about growing. He's talking about cooking. In Colorado, everybody's high, so I'm not even sure what's going on right now. No. I just wanted to call in and pay my respects to James and Ben and everyone. It was awesome to meet a lot of the guys at Chaos Cup in person, because we do have these relationships online, and buying stuff from everyone in the community. But it was really cool to just see everyone in person, shake hands, and play. So yeah, that was awesome. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. Should have a lot of cool tournaments. I had a great talk with you, Carlos, about recording matches, because I'm really passionate about that and trying to archive these stories, because it is like a storyline. So I feel like that's missing in our community. So. Hey, thank you for that. And just to remind the folks at home, listen, it is a community, and we all give up time to help others. So if you have a need, like TJ talking about wanting to learn about broadcasting live plays of games, just hit me up. You can find me on the Beans and Dice group. You can find me in the Facebooks. Ask Luft. He'll tell you how to get a hold of me, and I'll be glad to talk to you, help you set up on the stream, because that's what we need more of, is sharing that love of Blood Bowl with the community out there, so we can get more Adams out there and more Nicks of the world joining us with what we do. So thanks for bringing that up, TJ.
Yeah, no worries. I don't know what time we got, but I know you asked about Blood Bowl experience, but I did want to drop that real quick before I hang up.
The show is yours. Go. You're the captain now.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so I got into Blood Bowl. I was like 18, and I was in GameStop. I was looking for a game, and I saw this weird game called Blood Bowl for Xbox 360. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but the artwork is amazing. It's speaking to me. This massive work was, takes down this human. And I saw the price tag. I was like, well, I can't commit to something that expensive when I have no idea what it is. Fast forward 4 years later, there's the lone copy is still there. It's all dusty and whatnot. I was like, you know what? I'll have to try it. So I bought it, brushed home, put it in. My first ever, tabletop game. So it was a really steep learning curve, and so I played Skaven because
he wanted the learning curve to be steeper.
Right, yeah. I had to choose that team, and so I quickly began hating dwarves. I had no idea why. I was throwing the same amount of blocks, and yet all of my guys were dying. And I couldn't break any of their armor. And then I started looking online, and I found streamers. And it went from Blood Bowl 1 to Blood Bowl, 2. And then, 8 years later, I got tired of only playing virtual. I heard about the tabletop community, but I didn't have any guidance about it. So I started to speak to certain people, and James was one of the first people I ended up getting in contact with on Facebook, and he got me in touch with Mike Haley down here. And so I ended up doing my first ever tournament was last July. I took Dark shelves. Had an absolute amazing time. Ended up winning a trophy my first time going, and I was intimidated. I was like, I'm gonna stick up like a sore thumb. Everyone's gonna know it's my first time being in a tournament, blah blah. But it was the opposite. Everyone loved me. It was great. We hung out afterwards. We coffee, shared info, and then I got absorbed into the family, so to speak. And then and now I'm sitting, a year later, and I'm at like my 15th tourney, and I got one this Saturday here in Colorado. I got another one on the 10th in Utah, and then I got one in Vegas on the
LVO.
26th. So
Yep.
Yeah. So it's super exciting. I've had people fly out here to play. I've flown out to other people, states to play, and it's, to me, it's the best game in the world because of the community. So that's my little. I know it was long-winded. I apologize, but that was my, experience with Blood Bowl. So.
Well, there are some people
That's
who
awesome.
get involved in Blood Bowl and get into the community, and they dip their toe in the water. I'll be the first to say TJ jumped in both feet and made a splash. And I'm so glad to have met you at Cast Cup, and I'm so glad that you're involved in the Blood Bowl community, and you do a hell of a great job of advocating. We call it being a good ambassador for the game, and that's you, man, to a T.
Yeah.
You really do a great job of getting people into the game and getting them psyched up and worked up and having a good time with it. So thank you for doing that, and keep up the good work, man.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I'll definitely try.
All right, Bobby, we
Are
appreciate
you planning on coming out for Chaos Cup down here in Florida?
Oh yeah, I am. If I didn't go, I'd hear from it from James. I'm definitely going. I'm bringing quite a few guys with me, and I've got some buddies from out of state that are going to be flying in too. So
I'm excited about 2023. This change is a big change. Like, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but it puts us on that national level of, I'm going to get to meet people I've seen only online in person here in Florida near me. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, TJ, for calling in for your shout outs. We appreciate you. We'll let you get back to cooking whatever it was you're cooking, over in High Colorado.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, have a good night.
Yeah.
I had shut that phone line down, but when TJ messaged me and said, "No, I really was going to call," like, bro, you got to call now. Like, you can't not call, TJ.
You don't want to anger Luke Cage, man. Not at all. Nope.
So, Luft, you had some. Did you have any additional locations and events on that list you were going to go down?
No, I think I covered the events. The other two things I'll just throw out there before I give it over to Ben and Jonathan is, we try to do things in Florida Blood Bowl. We have two kind of like group things going on right now. One is if you want a Florida Blood Bowl trucker cap, I have an order. Yeah, I know, shameless plugs. Well, it's a marketing thing, man. It's like this is your IP, and you want to kind of spread it. And Mississippi's doing the same thing. We have Florida Blood Bowl banners, we have polo shirts, we have hats now, stickers, decals, whatever you want to call them. It's putting us out there. And
I got my mug right here, my Florida Blood Bowl.
Put that logo on everything. I think there's a picture of Chris Nelson out there wearing a Florida Blood Bowl Speedo, but I ain't gonna dig for it. But it is out there if you look. That may or may not be him, but it's definitely got his name attached to it. But and the other thing is we have a guy, his name is Sam Soto down in Naples. And right now he's doing a Kickstarter for a Blood Bowl team. You can get the STLs for it. It's an awesome looking team that he had a commission for a 3D designer to make. It is the Wave of Woe Kickstarter. It's on the Florida Blood Bowl group. And it's like sharks and, sea elves and things like that. It's a cool looking team. And you can get those STLs for a steal, if you ask me. So, I'm just throwing it out there. Some things, to help support our locals. So that's it for me.
I think we got Walter asking about Cobalt Cup 3. I'm planning on it. We'll hopefully have a date for that in the near future. We were trying to do something over here in Nature Coast, doing like a Nature Coast tournament series. We were thinking about maybe doing like one every quarter And then having, what was really neat, having something at the end that you get if you went to all of them or something like that. There was a really neat thing you guys did a few years ago. It was Dungeon Bowl, Ancient City, and one of the Hookie Bowls. And if you went to all three of them, you ended up getting a challenge coin. And I just thought that was a really cool thing. So I'd like to do something like that. And we're trying to pull some of the people from our local areas out to play a little bit and everything too. And I will say that Florida does a great job of spreading the tournaments around. We really, if you're not into traveling, I'll depending on what kind of mood I'm in, I'll make a drive, right? But like if I wasn't going to go more than an hour or two, you would still be able to get opportunities to play, even if you don't want to drive more than a few hours to play, which is nice.
I look forward
Jonathan,
to a few of the events.
Yeah, Jonathan, it's on you. Final notes for the folks at home.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to Christmas for Cthulhu. Hopefully I can make that one, but I'm definitely going to Gaines Vegas for that one. I love to see when new stores open up and everything. And once again, this community is really awesome. I figure next time I'll touch upon some league stuff, such as long-term contracts from the 2021 Almanac and everything, and how it went result-wise in the league I run in Jacksonville. So, but it was a really great time. I loved all the call-in. It was just awesome. And this community's great. That's all I got.
All right, I'll wrap it up with the Beans and Dice podcast. It's something we do every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We take phone calls from gamers of all ilks, and I love it when Blood Bowl gamers call in to talk Blood Bowl because my Euro gamer friends that are on the show with me, it's not their thing, but they appreciate that I appreciate it to the point where I took my Beans and Dice shirt and I threw all kinds of patches on it from Blood Bowl that I've been collecting. So I'm looking forward to getting more Blood Bowl in 2023. 2022 was really the year of the baby. It having that new baby, kind of getting to a rhythm, and we've got a good rhythm going now. So I'm looking forward to getting 2023 back into Blood Bowl and moving forward. So hopefully see y'all on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, Beans and Dice podcast. And on that note, that gets us 2 hours of content here.
Wow.
Isn't it great when you have the call-in show? Because you get free content from people. They call in and just give you content. So I appreciate every one of you that called in.
Yeah, it gives them a platform to kind of speak their mind a little bit.
James, where can people go to join up with what we're doing on the Florida Bubble Group? How can they connect with us?
So there is a Discord channel. There is the Florida Blood Bowl Facebook group. We have floridabloodbowl.com. It's a website, needs a little bit of updating, but you could still find a lot of information on there. I would say the Florida Blood Bowl group is the big thing. If you message me directly, you find me, James Luft, out there on Facebook. You want to copy the zine, I'll mail one out to you. You give me your email address, I'll add you to our newsletter. We usually do mail blasts to let you know about upcoming tournaments. Some people don't use the social media. And I've gotten more than a few messages from people saying, man, thank you for emailing what you're emailing out, because otherwise I would have no idea. I don't do Facebook. I don't do Discord. I don't do this, that, or the other thing. So we try to find people. But yeah, we're out there. If you look, you'll find us, and then just drop any of us a message, and we'll help you with whatever it is you need helping with.
We appreciate it. A lot of work y'all put into this. You've kept me in touch with the community between the shows that we've done, those Zooms that we've done, where we just kind of got in and chatted. Ben, his wife, and Chris and other randos just kind of jumping in and having a Zoom chat. That's the kind of stuff that kept me connected during the time where it was tough for me to get out. So I really appreciate all the effort you put in. I am Carlos from the Beans and Dice podcast. It's going to wrap us up with James Luft, a.k.a. Beer Jones, Big Benny K, and Jonathan from all of us, the Florida Blood Bowl community. Out to you. We thank you for listening and watching, and we will see y'all at the next tournament. Good night, everybody.
Good night.